Langston, you're doing very well for yourself, but I feel like this is my favorite time in people's lives to interview them. You have a Netflix special dropping August 20th called Bad
Yeah.
Poetry. It was directed by John Mulaney. Are you this intervening? You just had a kid. To this intervening 3 weeks, is this an interesting, weird time for you, knowing how much that's going to kind of like hit like a meteor, and you'll probably have people annoying you twice as much in public and shit like that?
Your optimism about the results of this warms my heart. I don't know that I believe that that's what's gonna happen. I think, I'm excited about the special dropping. I'm excited to finally have this material out in the world. But man, if it ends up that I'm just able to ride the train in peace again, you'll be wrong and I'll be happy. I'll be okay. That'll be fine.
What but all that being said, like this was our in our because you posted the announcement, I think, while we were recording, and we were like, oh, Langston's got a special coming out, that's awesome. Oh, it's on Netflix, that's dope. Oh, John Mulaney directed it, wow, good for Langston.
Yeah.
It was like
Oh
a
Yeah.
ascending level of like, damn, okay, he's got people pointing guns at other people, like, you
yeah.
better fucking watch Langston's special.
There's a cool Voltron of information
Yeah.
sort of forming in front of you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. But
yeah, it was really dope. It's gonna be a good one, and John did a hell of a job directing it and was very generous to lend his talents to it. So I'm excited
how did that come about?
Are
Like,
you nervous
oh,
about
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Are there
about.
nerves about it dropping?
Oh yeah, that it gives me fuck tons of anxiety.
Even with
You
John
know,
Mulaney behind it, you know what I'm saying? And like speaking about how good it
yeah.
was. Okay.
I think you guys know this maybe better than most, but like people don't give a shit. Do you know what I mean? Like people really
They
don't
don't sell
care
it.
if they
They don't
don't
sell it.
care. And it's
Yeah.
not that like I don't believe in sort of the material and the machine and all the things that make it great, but it's like you still got to make people love and invest. And so yeah, I'm nervous, but I feel confident that we at least did all the right things to get it to where somebody should love it if we can, make the love happen.
For
Yeah.
sure.
That's an interesting angle there because I feel like comedians have to. I feel like you have to be self-deprecating to a point. You have to not take yourself
Mhm.
seriously, right, to be a successful comedian. But you just shed a light there that you are kind of concerned with people's perception of you. So I'm interested in how do you balance that with being a comedian?
Oh man, I think my job has to make me not care, but everything that is not the job is an insecure little weirdo. You know what I mean? Like I'm a fragile little person who needs attention and seeks affirmation from strangers. I am weak, but my job when I have a microphone in my hand, I must present strong and sort of lead with ego. And so I think it's kind of that balance of like, yo, be who you are, but also lie to the world when the time comes. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Does that change when you get on stage? Like, do you have like a different demeanor? Like
Hell
mentally, are
yeah.
you okay?
Dick,
Okay.
my dick grows 3 sizes that day every time.
I need to get a camera, nigga. I need to get a microphone. Fuck that.
If you give me a microphone, the confidence I have, the number of murderers I've said sly shit to with a microphone in my hand, who I would never even like make eye contact with out in the streets. I'll say some wild shit to people and have no regret afterwards until that microphone leaves and I'm like, hey, can somebody walk me to my car?
Security.
Hey, y'all gonna help me if they jump me, right? Because I was being silly. I ain't think it was gonna go that far.
Silly Billy comments can't stand after the like that was when I was being a silly Billy, and now I'm no longer being a silly. I've handed the microphone off.
Yeah, dog.
Please
And you
disappear.
see it. I've seen it a bunch of times where like comedians truly think that we're untouchable with the microphone, and then somebody, gets on stage and touches you, and you're like, oh,
Chris
okay.
Rock.
Yeah, Chris, great example.
He could have died. Could have killed him.
That was my favorite part of the entire thing. Was just these white people being like, he fucking tried to murder him.
He could have killed him. That was my favorite part too, is that in their defense, in their attempt to like villainize Will Smith and defend Chris Rock, they were just basically calling Chris Rock a bitch.
The
They were like
biggest
Embarrassing him.
right. They're like,
Embarrassing that man.
they were like, oh, big bad Will Smith slapping little Chris Rock
Will
around.
Smith.
That little frail 88-pound excuse of a man. Pick on someone of your own size, Will. They compared that man to Betty White. They called him a golden girl.
Why would you hit him? He looks like the Men in Black worms. Leave him alone. It's like, hey man, I don't think you're helping as much as you think you are. He got kids. You gotta chill. Calling him a little bitch as much as you are.
But yeah, springboarding off that, I'm interested in where you are, because that's always kind of a hot topic. Like, comedians, we should have free reign. We're the last, bastions of a free speech society. Like, where do you stand with all that?
I don't believe that at all. I think that's nonsense. We don't read. Fuck are you talking about? I don't pick up books. Why would I be the last person that you listen to about anything? I think our responsibility is to talk shit, and I think our responsibility is to be aware of the type of shit that people are attracted to hearing, and know how to push the edge, you know what I mean, or push that line a little bit. But I don't think people should be valuing us as sort of these prophets. And I think every time a comedian starts to view himself or herself as such, their ass, they turn bad.
And the jokes and the comedians who make themselves these pariahs, the jokes are always shitty. Like, you are telling Asian jokes from 1943 and using this shit, right? Like,
yeah, it's truly, it really is like a winding back of a clock in your head when you start playing that game. So no, I think my responsibility is more to just tell funny stories and like connect inward, really reflect on the person I hope to be or want people to see me as. And if that ends up being hilarious, then that's fucking dope. And if it's not, then burn the tapes. You know what I mean? Don't show that to people.
I have sort of a procedural question about like making a special that maybe is too sort of like inside comedy, but like when something is directed by John Mulaney, like what does that actually
What does the director do?
What in this context, what does the director do?
I think
I'm interested.
I think obviously a director is responsible in the most basic sense of a director is responsible for the shots, right? And really deciding like how many cameras we need, where the best angles are to be able to make the material that you've built, because all material is different. My special in particular, we did it in this place called the Green Mill in Chicago, which is like this really small room. It fit like 110 people when we packed it out with cameras, super tiny, super intimate. So figuring out the cameras and where they're going to be is massive in that moment. But I think more important for a director in a comedy special is sort of really honing in on like the aesthetic and the language of the special. So you want somebody who's going to figure out a way to really activate what makes you funny and look awesome and cool and powerful in the moments that you need to. And so you just want somebody familiar with like funny to be able to make all of that happen. And it ain't, I'm not going to pretend like it's the hardest directing job out there. You know what I mean? I don't think Scorsese is going to be like, he's kind of the same as me, but I think that I think Mulaney did a phenomenal job, and is, who's funnier than him and who's better to sort of help activate someone else's funny, I think is that dude.
What's the process of getting there? Like, are there like a lot of nerves the day before? How many times are you running that prior to actually shooting? Do you only shoot it once? Do you have one go at this shit? Like when I'm watching specials, I always think that like if this is the only time that he's gonna have a chance to do this shit.
No, and if you like watching specials, this is a fun game. You can start to see how many times they shot the shit. Like if you watch, you can kind of watch and see the edit of
the lighting changes a little bit.
You can check the back of people's heads and shit. It's like always the biggest thing.
There's like weird continuity things, like you'll cut to audiences and they're in different seats than, you know what I mean? Like the person has changed, even though the front row was all black people. Now it's all Mexican dudes. And it's like, what happened there?
Okay.
But usually you do two sets.
Okay.
I did two sets. I did an early show and a late show. And then we sort of like made an amalgamation of the two shows for the edit. So sorry YouTube. I hate to disappoint you, but it ain't
It's a
Jay-Z.
business.
You know what
That's
I
how
mean?
we record these. That's how we record our podcast. Actually, we
Okay.
we run it twice and then we just cut it
Take
together.
the best
you know?
parts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave some on the cutting room floor, as they say. You know what I mean?
I didn't laugh hard enough at Tyler's joke that time.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
Run it
yeah,
back.
man.
Run the last
Fuck it, you know?
Put it on the B side, so we ain't keeping that part.
I did have a friend ask me if we write the podcast once.
Whoa.
That is a hell of a compliment. Because
Just
no
like-
fucking way.
Just like it was a compliment, but it was also like my friend who asked questions like that. You know what I mean? Where you're
Okay,
like,
okay.
think about like what you're asking me.
What did he? I assume it's a dude.
That
What
part got a little
did-
bit of that Klay Thompson.
Has to be.
He-
Of course
That
it's a
Klay
dude.
Thompson. You got a touch of it. You got a touch of that.
You got to touch
Klay.
that Klay
Yeah.
Thompson.
Just got a little touch. Just a little touch. No, it's of course
Touch
it's
that
my
tear.
friend. Of course it's a dude, and of course it was my first friend that started smoking weed. Of course, yes.
Okay.
Did y'all
Okay,
see?
so it's a tree. It's not the spectrum. Go ahead.
Did y'all see Klay Thompson dancing in Cameroon? By the way, did you see his gorgeous?
No, but
steps?
I feel like I know what it looks like, and I didn't see it.
Honestly,
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say it. He looked better than I thought he would.
Was he hitting that shit?
I think whatever you think Klay Thompson is capable of in dancing, it's a step better. I'm not gonna say he's killing it. He is not, but he's definitely better than you thought he was gonna do.
Did he look like he was counting his steps? Like 5,
100%. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And you know he
Now I do
counts
this.
good.
Now I do that.
Boom, cat, boom, cat. 1, 2.
Forget about what the calendar says. Football season is right around the corner, and that means Best Ball Week at DraftKings isn't far behind. Here's what you need to know. DraftKings Best Ball Millionaire Contest is their biggest fantasy contest ever. We're talking 15 million guaranteed prize pool with two. That's right, 2 millionaires being crowned for first and second place.
If you're a set it and forget it type, then best ball is for you. No waiver wires, no roster management, bigger roster so injuries won't end your season. Only the draft, and that's it. You're set for the season. And $15 million in prize money is no joke. Still not convinced? Check this out. This year, DraftKings is offering everyone a Draft One, Get One special. Your $20 entry fee scores you a bonus ticket.
Get ready for Best Ball Week at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app and use code Jenkins. That's code JENKINS Jenkins for all customers who enter the NFL Best Ball $15 million millionaire contest to get a bonus ticket. Only during Best Ball Week, only on DraftKings.